but you're doing a great job, because when you start the conversation, or when I start it, you just take me, you lead me, and I'll pull from something that you say,
Yeah.
and we go from there. And I'm winging this, Rich.
You're phenomenal, John.
I didn't prepare at all.
I'm just telling you, nice job.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Nice job.
Now, one of the things that I want to go a little bit deeper is, you're not just a magician, and you're not just an attorney, and I know you have a family and a couple of girls, and you've been married an awful long time, and I know that you do other events that aren't necessarily magic related. So you're really a celebrity. Let's talk a little bit about that, because I know you do Mohegan Sun, I know you do the baseball team.
Well, I did the baseball team. I did Central Connecticut. I did some work for Billie Jean King for 2 years down at the tennis center in New York. I did the D-League basketball for the NBA for about 6 years. I ran a softball tournament where I incorporated all of the sound effects and music into just an everyday tournament to make it a one-of-a-kind tournament. I did Central Connecticut for about 25 years, playing the music and sounds for the men's and women's basketball team. I'm still doing the music and sounds at the state high school championship games. I'm probably 28 years now doing that, every bit of that, for the finals of the boys and girls. They now have 5 divisions for the boys and 5 divisions for the girls. I did the Norwich Navigators baseball team for 11 years. I did World Team Tennis for about 6 or 7 years for the Hartford Fox Force, and 2 years Billie Jean King invited me to come to New York to do the semifinals and finals at the tennis center, where they actually hold the U.S. Open right there on one of the courts. Coached the Little League for 23 years. So these are, there may be 1 or 2 other things I can't quickly pluck, but that's quite a lineup in itself.
So what do you do when you go to these events?
What I do is I play the music, and so I'll play songs, and I have collected well over 500 sound effects, and I'll bring what I think is going to be fitting for whatever the particular event is. You do tennis, you have certain sound effects. You do baseball, you have other sound effects. Talking about that, I did minor league hockey in New Haven for a couple of years. I did a thing there. So you just bring what's going to fit, and some of the stuff is funny, some is just fitting for whatever may happen. I'll give you an example on baseball. If one of the Norwich Navigators players, this is from years ago, would catch a fly ball, I'd play a nice chime sound. Talking about a funny thing, I recall one incident where a player was running to catch a foul ball, and he ran so hard he caught the ball and fell over the fence, and I played the sound effect, "Please help me, I'm falling." And it gets laughter from 3,000 people watching the game. So I'd have tons of those things, and you got to be quick to, of course, to play them right at the moment you got to play them. And I would have my chart pretty much memorized, so I could have 100 sound effects memorized, and if I see something, I jump right to that particular item. So all of those things were designed to be musical and to be funny, as well. got into a couple fights with John McEnroe, playing sound effects. I played the crybaby sound effect for him. That was fitting. You know, he actually stopped the match and brought his racket over as if he was going to swat it over my head, which of course he didn't do. But I blasted him with a ton load of sound effects. Now I was prepared because before I came up, I accumulated what I could do to John McEnroe, and by golly, it worked.
So you're quite the entertainer, not only just for a small birthday party, but for large national events.
Yeah, it really just comes naturally. I just think of something. That's how my mind works. It's a funny thing. It's always on the friendly side. I enjoy entertaining people.
Is there any one show or event that stands out in your mind over any other?
I can't think of one really that jumps out and say, boy, this is it. They're all enjoyable. They all bring something different each time, and they all have the same theme of people are leaving, and I know they're very happy and enjoyed the show. I got a compliment on one show where a lady came up and she said to me, you know, if I paid $100 for a ticket at Foxwoods and you did exactly what I saw you do here, I would leave and say I got every penny's worth. It was well worth it. And I hear this kind of compliment in different ways, of course, at almost every single show that I do. A nice one was I did a convention of nuns, 70 nuns, and the show was over, and one of the nuns sitting in a wheelchair waved me off the stage after the show. So I jumped down, and she said to me, I have to tell you this. I'm 92 years old. I love magic, and I've seen hundreds of shows, but I've never seen one as entertaining, one that made me laugh, and one that was as magical as what you just did. And I just wanted to tell you that. It's wonderful. It pumps you up. It makes you feel good. That if she's saying that, I know everybody was feeling the same way as she was feeling. And it stimulates you to just keep going and going and going. You know, when you do with kids, it makes you feel younger, you know, when you're dealing with the kids.
Now, I don't know if there is any truth to this or not, but you and your wife are a lot alike. You share a lot of the same, what's the word I'm looking for? The same things, whether it be sports teams or whatever it might be. I remember going to your wedding, and I was young, and my parents dragged me along, and I really enjoyed it. You guys really had a nice time. It was a nice couple. Is she as enthusiastic about your magic as you are? I remember at one point there was, she really supports you in this. You know, so I guess I'm struggling with the question, but she...
Well, we both enjoy sports, so we still watch sports. We like mostly the same teams, so that's, you know, something in common. Because of her inability, she doesn't go to any shows, but she always says, have a good time, how was the show, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, she always struck me as being very supportive of you with that,
yeah.
And really enjoying you at the show, watching you come back. You just seem like a new person.
Yep, I get pumped up for every show, and I feel good after every show is over.
That's
just
great.
Feel real good, yeah.
Now, I've asked you a bunch of questions for quite a bit of time now. Is there anything that I haven't touched on that you would want to share?
think you covered it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think you covered it. I think you covered it.
Hmm. Is there a show, let's see, we've talked about a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
How far would you travel?
Well, I've traveled as far as New Hampshire, Cape Cod, and New York for shows. So I've done probably, 4.5 hours to go do a show. Wherever people would call, I try not to turn them down. I try not to make money, whether I'm coming or not. I try and work within people's budgets. And they call, I come. And that's it. And then I get in the car, I just enjoy the nice ride, and I look forward to entertaining, the people.
Now, you've been doing this for how many years?